history was made. First of all, Adam took a bite out of that apple, and that was the first of many things to come. Mick Jagger at some point picked up a guitar, and then we find out that the very first recipe that Christopher ever made, most kids are fooling around with peanut butter and jelly, but we knew he was on to greatness when he was fixing quiche with leeks. It's one of those things. This is your first recipe.
Well, I think
first ever or just first?
Ritz crackers and cheese was probably first. But this is the first time I watched a cooking show and made a recipe. So this
Who was that?
This is probably Julia Childs.
That's what I thought.
But this is a ham and leek quiche. This is a leek. Okay, that's what it looks like in the grocery store. I'm going to show you how to clean one because it's very important. Leeks are grown in sand, so you have to be very careful how you do this. I'm going to cut it just where the green stops and the white starts, something like that. And then I'm just going to take my knife and cut it back towards the center a little bit so I get some of those tough leaves off. You see that sand? You can see that sand being exposed right there. And then I'm going to leave the core on so it holds my leek together so it's easier to chop. I'm going to cut right through that and expose all these things. See all these ribs or these circles there. And we're going to go to the sink and rinse those out because we got to get all that sand out. Now you'll see why that core end is important because it's holding all those basically leaves together, and now we can cut it sort of thin as you can. About 1/4 cup of butter here. And a lot of nice butter because we want those leeks to sort of steam. Okay, add those leeks. Got some sliced Purity 1. I wouldn't use a sweet ham. Don't use any sort of a sweet ham like anything that you see that says brown sugar rubbed or honey baked, nothing like that. I've got 4 eggs and 2 cups of cream. Okay, I'm gonna mix that up a little bit. Gonna add a pinch of salt, pinch of white pepper, not too much there. And here's a secret, people won't figure out what it is, just a pinch, and I mean a pinch, of nutmeg. I also have some Swiss cheese. You can use Gruyere cheese, Jarlsberg, any type in the Swiss family, or Emmental, which is sort of a French version of Swiss cheese, Emmental. I'm going to do those about the same size of the ham, a little bit finer than the ham, so it melts very easily. Okay, I think those leeks are cooked just enough. I'm just going to add some ham just to warm up the ham just a touch and almost really cool down the leeks a little bit. Now I got a little color on my leeks. You don't do that. You just get it nice and slow cooked. Now, pie crust. There is a recipe for pie crust on the website from a previous recipe. If you want to, you can go to the grocery store and buy a pie crust, put it in a pie pan, or cook it in the same pan that it comes with if you didn't want to make a pie crust. But if you want to make a pie crust, make it yourself. What I'm using today is a 10-inch pan, but what I've done is just floured and oiled the surface, pressed the pie crust in there, and it's refrigerated, okay? It's cooked raw. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put my cheese on the bottom because if I put it on top, I think it floats to the top and burns a little bit, and I don't want any of that real dark color on top. We've got our Swiss cheese in the bottom, and we've got our warm but not hot leek and ham mixture. Okay, I'm just going to spread that out a little bit. You want to get that in the corners. There's nothing worse than you want to make sure all the flavor gets to the corners of that pie pan, okay? Then we're going to pour in our custard mix. Pour it all the way around. And it works out just great in these 10-inch pans. Put that on a sheet pan, and we're going to place that into a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes or until the custard is set. Now, I took our quiche out of the oven and I let it cool a little bit, okay? I want this at about room temperature. It'll be easier to slice. Now, if I was going to serve this for brunch or something like that, I would just keep it over the stove and keep it warm. Just let it sit for about 15 minutes. Don't try to cut it when it comes right out of the oven. Then I'm going to just loosen, just make sure that the crust is totally loosened from the sides like this. And then now you'll see the value of having a pan like this. You just push that through, okay? And you get a nice, and you still have something to cut it on too, so that's very good. So we'll taste that, Mike. You guys have enough salt and pepper?
Oh my gosh, yes.
See, now the leeks. Mike, have you ever had leeks before?
I have, but I'm thinking soup. This is a recipe for leek quiche, and you can find it on the website at kvtx.com, along with all the other recipes that we have at Christopher's Kitchen. And so for Christopher Lampo, thanks for making us a part of your day. I'm Mike Wright.